Welcome to the week that was, TIOL's weekly news roundup. In this last episode of 2015, we bring you wide-ranging stories marking India's weekly report card on reforms.
There are policy changes to bring in economic and legal reforms in preparation of GST whenever implemented.
There is news about India's dismal performance in Nairobi at the WTO meet, some landmark decisions from the courts, some banking frauds, and some VVIP security lapses.
But first, let's hear about the bill that made it through a lackluster winter session of Parliament.
Even as the GST bill lost out in the winter session of Parliament, another bill made it. The Lok Sabha passed the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2015 for the speedy settlement of high-value business disputes through arbitration. The new law will have prospective effect. It would not apply to pending cases unless both the parties agree. The bill provides for a fast-track procedure for conducting arbitration with the award to be given within 6 months. Any appeal application would have to be disposed of within 1 year. The new bill is expected to make arbitration user-friendly, reduce the cost of litigation, as well as improve India's ranking in the Ease of Doing Business Index of the World Bank. It may also promote foreign direct investment into the country. What happened at the Nairobi WTO meet? Let's find out from Richa.
Has India betrayed its farmer at the 10th WTO Ministerial Conference, which concluded in Nairobi this week? Crucial decisions were taken on agriculture and trade. Facing pressure from rich nations to stop giving input subsidies to farmers, India looked forward to reaffirmation of the Doha mandate that would allow it to do so. However, the WTO membership was divided. The reaffirmation did not happen. Instead, members in favor of export competition committed to abolish export subsidies for farm exports, which was a setback for India. The decision is legally binding and will force governments of developing countries like India and China to eliminate the subsidies by 2018. These governments will keep the flexibility to subsidize or cover marketing and transport costs for agriculture export until the end of 2023. On the brighter side, members committed to give developing nations the right to take recourse to special safeguard mechanism to protect their farmers. This means that India would retain the right to temporarily increase tariffs in face of increased and cheaper imports. Competition Commission received a setback. Let's hear from Asha.
It's a victory of technicality over merit. Yes, the Competition Appellate Tribunal has set aside the highest penalty of Rs 6,300 crore imposed by the Competition Commission in the cement cartel case, and the matter has been remanded for a fresh hearing. What was the technicality? The advocate representing the cement company Lafarge argued that the chairman of the commission, Mr. Ashok Chawla, was absent from 3 crucial oral hearings when the parties were heard, and therefore the order authored by him cannot be sustained. The argument was based on the legal principle that he who has not heard cannot decide. The Appellate Tribunal thus held that the order was in violation of principles of natural justice. The Appellate Tribunal does not seem to have considered that the Commission allows oral hearings only as an option because replies and objections are already submitted in written form. The Appellate Tribunal's order also undermines the wisdom of the Commission and presumes the influence of the chairman over the other members. This order is a big blow to the Commission at a time when cartelization in the cement sector remains an open secret. RBI has come under the RTI scanner. Let's find out.
Can RBI deny information under the Right to Information Act by raising confidentiality obligation provided in the banking statutes? The Supreme Court has said a big no. This marks another crucial victory for RTI activists and a move towards transparency in the working of the banking sector. In its recent landmark decision, the Apex Court held that the Reserve Bank of India is under an obligation to disclose information sought by applications under the RTI Act. Information cannot be denied to the public on the grounds of economic interest, commercial confidence, and fiduciary relationship with other banks. The Supreme Court used strong words to observe that there is no fiduciary relationship between the RBI and the banks, and therefore RBI is supposed to uphold public interest and ought to act with transparency and not hide information that might embarrass individual banks. Excise exemption may be removed on most of the goods in Budget 2016. Let's hear from Asha.
How will the government meet the added expense of higher government salaries and defense pensions in the next financial year without causing too much of a flutter? Well, it seems the government is considering reducing the list of goods currently exempted from central excise duty from 300 goods to 90 goods, which could help to add about Rs 50,000 crore in tax revenue. Currently, extensive central excise exemptions amount to nearly Rs 2 lakh crore or 80% of excise duty collections. Also, in preparation for GST, the dual tax system allowing both the centre and the states to levy tax on goods and services will have to make way for a more integrated tax system. Hence, irrespective of when the GST sees the light of day, the government plans to initiate the action to shrink the list of goods already exempted in Budget 2016. There are going to be new guidelines on a company's place of effective management.
The government has issued the draft guidelines for determination of a company's place of effective management, as promised under the Memorandum to the Finance Bill 2015. The Finance Act 2015 had amended the provisions of Income Tax Act relating to determination of residence of a company. Accordingly, with effect from April 2016, a company would be said to be a resident in India in any previous year if it is an Indian company or its place of effective management is that year is in India. The government has now invited comments from stakeholders and general public on these draft guidelines for determination of place of effective management, which may be emailed by January 2, 2016. Can money lending breed black money? Let's find out.
The absence of banking and microfinance institutions in small villages breeds black money. Several arrests have been made in coastal districts of Andhra Pradesh in connection with money lenders extending loans to women borrowers at exorbitant rates of interest and even pushing these borrowers into prostitution in cases of default. The police have registered more than 200 cases against money lenders involving charges of sexual harassment of borrowers. So far, more than 350 call money complaints have been received, with 65% involving women borrowers. Most of the accused involved in this Rs 2,000 crore call money racket are members of political parties or related to politicians. The scam is also a channel for black money. While the informal money lending business has been historically prevalent in coastal Andhra Pradesh, it is now turned violent. Can you guess how much revenue was made from toll plazas? Let's find out.
Ever wondered about the quantum of collection from the toll plaza? Well, the government generated more than Rs 4,500 crore as revenue from 348 toll plazas across the country in the current fiscal up to November 15 last month. There were no collection from 3 toll plazas in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala due to public resistance. If highways were by definition required to be as smooth as baby's bottom, the Gurgaon-Jaipur road is certainly no highway. Besides toll collections, the Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways, Mr. P. Radhakrishnan, also informed the Rajya Sabha in a written reply that construction on the 6th laning of the Gurgaon-Jaipur National Highway, which has been going on since April 2009, is now scheduled to be completed by June 2016, as against the earlier date of October 2011. Nearly 91% of the project is already completed. The primary reason for the setback was delay in disbursement of land compensation that led to the delay in land acquisition. Other reasons include removal and relocation of government and religious structures, dealing with irrigation and forest land besides slow progress due to a financial crunch. Can the government impose countervailing duty on steel imports? Let's check out.
The steel sector is reeling under losses from the impact of cheaper imports and forcing the government to take action. Following the safeguard duty and the anti-dumping duty imposed on steel imports, the Ministry of Steel now wants the Department of Commerce to recommend amendment of customs rules so that countervailing duty can be imposed on cheaper steel imports from China and Korea. The Steel Ministry has sought the amendment of Rule 11(1)(c) of the customs rules, under which countervailing duty may be imposed. However, this is tricky because the CVD acts as an anti-subsidy duty on imported products and is intended to countervail the impact of subsidy given by exporting countries. However, the World Trade Organization does not allow the imposition of CVD unless injury is proved as per the agreement on subsidies and countervailing measures of the WTO. Any move to amend the rule to facilitate imposition of CVD, which would also require concurrence of the CBEC, could prove difficult. The Rajya Sabha approved the amendment to the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act 2014, which will now permit juveniles between the ages of 16 and 18 years to be tried as adults for committing heinous offences. Even if juveniles commit a lesser offence, they shall still be tried as an adult if apprehended after the age of 21 years. Whether this legislative change alone will be effective as a deterrent or not, what is much needed is deeper introspection, education, and immediate social reforms involving perhaps the parents or guardians of the juvenile. The Indian technology industry has enriched the American economy. Let's find out.
The Indian technology industry is contributing heftily to the American economy through investment, taxes, and now visa fees too. The technology industry invested $2 billion in US during the financial years 2011 to 2013, besides paying taxes of more than $22 billion during the financial years 2011 to 2015. It also supported more than 400,000 jobs in America during 2015 alone. This is as per the report published by NASSCOM titled Contributions of India's Tech Industry to the US Economy. Even the escalation of the visa fees by the US government from April 2016 is going to hit the industry hard. In addition, Indian techies in the state on an H-1B and L-1 visas also pay Social Security and Medicare, which alone is about $1 billion per annum. Are our VVIPs safe? Let's find out.
On land, the Indian Prime Minister's security is nothing less than a fortress. But is it the same when he is in flight? The latest CAG report states that 3 Boeing business jets owned by Air India and used by VVIPs was operating without a secured on-board communication system since August 2015. The aircraft were originally procured by the Indian Air Force from US in 2005. However, since this craft did not have the requisite system to prevent unauthorized access, the government sanctioned Project Meghdoot to the DRDO's Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics in 2007 for the development of an indigenous VTC system. When the system was finally installed in all the 3 aircrafts, it developed a heating problem. Needless to say, this is a security lapse and needs to be immediately plugged. You may not attend school but still be good academically. So we have a celebrity MP accused of gross absenteeism from Parliament but still diligent about his duties. Mr. Sachin Tendulkar, as a nominated member of the Rajya Sabha, attended Parliament on only 13 days out of 235 days of 12 Parliament sessions. However, he posed as many as 7 questions during this winter session of Parliament but was not present in Parliament when his questions were answered. In November, for the first time, he was appointed as a member of the Standing Committee on Information Technology. But Mr. Tendulkar has not attended even one of the meetings. However, on the other hand, he seems to be one of the best performing nominated lawmakers, going by the utilization of funds under the Members of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. He has already exhausted 98% of his funds, making allocations for flood relief in Jammu and Kashmir and Tamil Nadu and rebuilding a school and bridge in Chamoli following the Uttarakhand floods. Also, as the Prime Minister's Swachh Bharat ambassador, he has supported building toilets and school infrastructure in Maharashtra and West Bengal. He has helped develop a village in Nellore district of Andhra Pradesh as well as called for integration of sports in higher education. He has also taken up the cause of the Kashmiri willow industry, which works on the wood used to manufacture cricket bats. After such an impressive performance, Mr. Tendulkar has time until 2018 to improve on his attendance score. On this note, we conclude this bulletin of the week that was.
Thank you for staying with us, and please do write us at editor@tiol.in.
Have a festive weekend ahead and a Merry Christmas!